Hey everybody, welcome to DKTV, where we're talking PGA. That's right, it's the British Open. Joining us, Jamie Hinks, DK writer, Edo Delamonte, our regular golf guy, and our newest member, Seb from SebonGolf. Welcome, Seb. Thanks for joining us here.
Pleasure.
It is the 145th British Open. That's right, the British Open is so old it actually voted for Brexit. So I'm going to ask these guys, who is on your team? You got 6 men, 50,000, and of course DraftKings. We are giving away huge money, $3 million in prize, including $1 million to the top winner. So I'm going to ask these guys, hey, British Open, are we excited? What's going on? Seb, you excited about the British Open? What do you think about this?
Absolutely. I'm a massive fan of links golf. I mean, it took me a little bit of getting used to, but the extra elements into it, the weather plays a part, all the Americans moaning about the rain, it's great fun. You've got to love that stuff, right? But no, it's really always you find that the best golfer wins that week. You know?
How do you find the Troon compared to other courses that they've had the British Open at?
Yeah, I mean, there's always so much history with all the different courses. There's like a whole show you could probably make about each individual course, who's won there. I mean, this week you've got Tom Watson's won there, you've got Arnold Palmer's won there before. I heard some stats recently, I'm sure you're going to elaborate on later, you know, the type of players that win there. But genuinely, you're not going to find someone's going to luck out and win at links golf for the British Open or the Open Championship. Someone's going to have their best stuff.
What about you, Edo? What about the course? What are you thinking about this course? You like to look at the lay of the land?
Yeah, there's a similarity actually, well, a strange correlation with people who win the Honda Classic, bizarrely. So obviously our last winner in 2004, Monsieur Todd, actually had done really well at Honda before going on to win, and he was, I think, 38 years old by then, which is quite a shocker. But so it's one thing to look at. Accuracy, you really can't get into the rough. The greens are quite small, so good luck with that because then the ball will end up in the bunker. As you mentioned, weather and the fact that we're close to the sea, just like St Andrews, which means that people will have to factor that one in as well. The damp is going to be key as well, and the weather is getting progressively worse, actually. The winds by Saturday, Sunday, at least from what I've seen, look to be quite strong, and it could rain actually on both Saturday and Sunday afternoon, which is going to be, well, pretty bad. And you were mentioning Americans complaining about the weather, which is every year, you know, just, but the fact is, last 6 winners here, all of them American, which I looked at that and went, no, and yeah, so that's a bit of a shocker. And obviously, you had Justin Leonard in '98, so that's
and Zach Johnson last year. What are you thinking of, Jamie? What are you thinking of in this course?
I think an American's going to win it. I think they've won the last. They've won the last 6 at this course. I mean, it's a tough course. It's no Carnoustie, but it's going to be tough, especially with the weather. If it rains all weekend, they're going to be moaning about it. But
well, it's funny. It's Jim Furyk said on the Royal Troon. It's like 2 golf courses. It's blowing out in the front and everything plays real short. Then you turn around and come into the left to right wind and spend the back 9 trying to kill it and keep it left. Pretty much it's just wind and rain and Americans bitching. And that's hilarious. That's what I like. That's why I go to TGI Fridays. But
I can't remember if it was Gary Player. Sorry if I interrupt you. I think it was Gary Player said the last 9 holes were the toughest ever when the wind wasn't on your side. I think it was Player. It was one of the sort of big 4 anyway. And it's like, oh wow.
It's like that in the movie in Caddyshack when the father is out there and he gets hit by lightning. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, well.
The best game of my life. All right, let's go through the picks. I'm going to ask these guys, hey, 6 pick, 50 grand. Who is on your lineup? Who is on your roster this week? You have 6 men. Who are you going to choose? Who is going to make the cut? I'm going to start with Seb, our guest. Who is your first golfer you've got?
First golfer on my list is a romantic pick.
I love romance.
I like looking at stats. I like stats as much as the next guy, right? But I like to play a little bit with my heart as well sometimes. I like to really think, who do I feel emotionally drawn to? And this week, I feel emotionally drawn to Sergio Garcia.
Oh.
The guy knows how to play links golf. He has contended in loads of British Opens. He's let it go a few times. The only real weakness the guy has is in between his ears. He somehow doesn't have the confidence in himself that the rest of us have in him. However, he's found some form. He's had a win in a couple of top 5s recently. I feel the British Open, the British fans are going to be behind him this week. I'm hoping he's going to get a convenient side of the weather draw. Often, you know, as Rudder was saying, that the weather can play such a way that the tee time you get on Thursday or Friday can make a big hamper to your chances. So fingers crossed he's going to get that. I'm backing Sergio, the ball striking god, to get the job done.
Let's see if he is a ball striking god indeed. Okay, over to you, Jamie. First pick.
I've gone for Dustin Johnson, $12,000. Yeah, he's a big price, but I don't think there's a golfer playing better than him so far at the moment on the PGA Tour. He was 2nd in the Open back in 2011. Not that that's going to matter a huge amount, I don't think. But yeah, he's tied 7th, tied 4th, and won the US Open. That's his last 3 majors. 91.6 fantasy points per game, which is very, very solid to get that, because he basically plays every single week. So, and as Edo said earlier, last 6 Opens here have been won by an American. I think he's the best American on the field.
Big money to spend on your first pick. Jamie goes and splooshes out big. Edo, first pick out of the gate.
Yeah, so I've spent big as well. Adam Scott at 10,600. He's averaging 84 fantasy points per tournament, which is quite a big one, because even at that kind of price, there is price compression going on because of the quality, and I just love that price. I mean, Sergio is at 10,000, which is also another, in my opinion, huge steal. I would say this as well. He's got Adam Scott would have won at Northern Trust and would have done really well and won at Honda as well. And people say, well, afterwards he's declined. It's like, well, no, he hasn't, because he's still got 9 top 10s this year out of 14, hasn't missed a cut. You were also talking about a guy who, well, we're talking about the Honda correlation actually with this kind of course. So Links Golf, I think he's really good at it. He's done really well actually in Britain. So his last 4 finishes are all top 10s. So I'm not really that concerned about the ceiling. I think the floor is good enough to pay that kind of money for him. And there's the fact that he's #1 in approaches to the green. He's #1 in shots gained tee to green. So, yeah, I just really like Adam Scott. I know that he's maybe not been winning tournaments as much lately, but yeah.
Maybe this will be his big one. Okay, you guys have mentioned that, Americans have won it the past 6 times, and I don't think they'll win this year. So my first pick, all the way from Scotland, Russell Knox. 7,600. He's used to playing in Scotland. He just played in the Aberdeen Asset Wealth Management. He's used to Scotland. He's used to Scottish children and old ladies calling him the C word. And also, it's all Scotland right now. Andy Murray, pride of Scotland. So I think we're rolling on something right here. I think Russell Knox, 7,600. You're on my list. All right, second pick. Let's go over to you, Seb. Who you got?
Okay, mine's probably going to be the big name to jump in with your guys' big names. He's not the price maybe he could be. Had a few things gone differently recently, but Jordan Spieth.
Oh, yeah.
He's coming in at 11.7k. The guy knows how to win golf tournaments with his D game, his C game. He's hitting it all over the park right now. He's walking more yards than anybody else on the golf course, but he still manages to contend because he has a wand in his bag, the flat stick, his putter. So I feel like this guy knows how to turn it on when he really needs to. The guy's young, but he's got the balls of I don't know who. He can find his best stuff when he doesn't have it, and I think if he does turn up, he could just win by like 5 shots quite easily. So I'm hoping for a little renaissance for Jordan Spieth this week.
Well, it could be, and if he doesn't turn up, it could be hilarious.
That's true.
That's always good. Jamie, second pick.
I've gone for the other Johnson, Zach Johnson, 8,100. I wasn't just putting in Johnson and picking
I think you were
one.
just typing in Johnson and see what comes up. Oh, look what I found.
I think there's a potential for him to be low owned just because he won it last year, and people aren't going to think, oh, Zach Johnson will win 2 Opens in a row, because he probably won't. But if you've got him in the lineup and he makes the cut, his recent form's good. He's had top 10 at the WGC Bridgestone, and I believe he was in the top 10 at the US Open as well. And yeah, won last year. Top 10 at the Open in 3 of the last 4 as well. And he's American.
And he is American. There you go. Edo, second pick.
Sergio. Love you, Sergio. No, love this man. And what I was mentioning for Adam Scott as well, again, we're talking ceiling, we're talking floor. Who cares if he doesn't win? I mean, yeah, I do care. We all care. We would love to see him win. But he will be, you're paying that kind of money for a top 10 finish. And he is guaranteeing those. He's got 2 top 2s. He's come 5th twice. He's come 6th once. He was cut in 04, unfortunately, the last time they played here at Troon. But, with the British Open, more than maybe the PGA, more than maybe the Masters, there is a sort of similarity. It is links golf. The weather conditions of those, they're all sort of tough courses. Whilst in America, they can sort of vary. They can be diametrical opposites, in fact. So at least here, you have a guy who knows how to play in Britain. Came second at Honda this year. And you were talking about Dustin Johnson. Well, that's another deeply flawed player who finally managed to win a major. Why not Sergio?
Might be.
Ought to be his turn soon.
Turning me around.
It might be Sergio's year.
I want him here. Yeah, and yeah, won at Byron Nelson, was 5th at the US Open, so I'm really fancying him at the moment.
So Sergio, second Sergio. I am going to go for an English golfer. 9,200, Danny Willett. That's right, Danny Willett, Masters champion. He's been quiet. You know why? Because he's been preparing for this moment. He wants to come back home, win the British Open. He's been playing up in Ayrshire with Justin Rose. I think he's ready for it. 72 fantasy points per game. This is the time. He may not win it, but he's going to be in the top 10, I think. So Danny Willett, on my list. Do well, buddy. All right, Seb, Third. What do you got?
Well, I've splashed some cash.
All right,
so
do it.
I've already spent
Make it rain.
it now. I'm going to try now and find some real value here.
All right.
So my first value pick is going to be Francesco Molinari.
Ooh, a little Italian stallion.
Yeah, a little Italian stallion. Very, very solid player. Got good previous finishes at the British Open. Also started finally this year to start finding some form again. He's been in the wilderness for a little bit, so he's back. And I've got a feeling again that European support, links courses is going to come good for him.
All right, Jamie, third pick.
Mark Leishman, 7,400. He always seems to be. I did a comparison on a spreadsheet of them the other day, the winners of this in the top 10s. He always seems to be there or thereabouts in the top 10. Fifth and tied second over the last 2 years. So like that progression means there's only one place he can go, which would be to win it. But I'm not sure if he'll do that. He seems to slowly be learning how to become a bit of a beast on links courses. And yeah, he's made the cut in the 5 last PGA tournaments he's played in, and 15 of 19 cuts this season. 7,400 seems very cheap for him, so I feel like it's kind of like you're being sold a deal and there's a problem somewhere and they're hiding it. But I'm hoping there isn't.
Nice British skepticism right there. Edo, third pick.
Yeah, much the same reasoning as Jamie in picking Matt Kuchar at 7,800. I can't quite believe he's so cheap because I know it's 3 top 30 finishes in 6 years. Maybe it's because none of those finishes are sensational, but there is a T9 in 2012, which was before the last time he was cut in a major. So he's not been cut in a major since the PGA of 2012, which is bloody brilliant, really. Yeah. And so he was cut his first 4 times at the British Open. That's not unusual. He's gotten much better since. What I love about it is the form. You've got 7 top 10s out of the last 10 tournaments. He's only been cut 10 straight cuts. I think 2 of those are finishes in the 40s and 1 of them is in the high 20s. He's been absolutely sensational. The driving accuracy is unbelievable. The Masters, the players, Byron Nelson, Memorial, over 70% in all of them. He didn't really play at Honda, but did really well at Northern Trust. Yeah, I really like the profile. And the 7,800 is maybe slightly to do with the price compression, because we are dealing with the best players in the world. But, you know, you still have people like Anirban Lahiri playing. So, yeah.
All right, Edo jumps on the Cooch. I'm going to jump on a value pick. You always need some value picks, and I'm going to go with someone European. I'm going for a little throwback. Paul Lowry. Hey, 1999. Let's party. That's right. Throwback British Open winner. I liked it last year, and if you saw in the BMW Championships, he hit it into a fan shirt on the 17th. I love that. It's hilarious.
Get involved. Get amongst
you have to. You got to get in with the fans. You got to muck in with the fans and show them that you care. And you know what? He does it. I like to think globally and act locally. I'm going to go for Scottish, a little Scottish flavor. Paul Lowry, 6,200. Don't disappoint me because you're on my list. All right, Seb, fourth pick. Your money's running short. You got some big ones. Who you got now?
Yeah, I've got to go with some more value, but I really feel good about this guy.
All right.
This guy is a guy I'm really actually fancying. There's 2 reasons why. I'll tell you his name first.
Okay, sure.
His name is Chris Wood.
All right.
Now,
sounds like a golfing name. Come on.
It's a golfing name. It's a British player, British tournament. Chris Wood found some great form early this year at the BMW PGA. And I actually was expecting that to happen. I'm very fortunate that I get to play golf with some pros and with some caddies and things that I played with Chris Wood as a caddy. And he said that he's hitting it really good. And the next week, he comes and plays in the BMW, plays really, really well. And I sort of feel like this could be a continuation of that. The guy hits it so well. He's done really well in British Opens previously. He's one of them picks where I'm just using a little bit of inside information and going with my heart. But when he's at that price, you know, 7,600, he's pretty easy to pick. I've seen a few other people tipping him up as well recently. So I actually think there's real value there.
Have you talked to the caddy lately to see how he's doing for this one?
Not since then. I mean, I'm still playing. There's not a direct line tap in there. I was fortunate enough to be paired with him in an event, so I'm going off the back of that. But you know, you often hear all these things and this information, but then when it delivers the very next week, I sort of feel quite nicely about that. So we'll see how he gets on.
Very nice. Okay, Jamie, fourth pick.
I'm going with you, 9,200, Danny Willett.
All right.
I'm impressed with how he's doing at majors this year so far. Won the Masters, tied 37th at the US Open, which isn't an amazing score, but it's good enough for me to think I can take him in this. He's back home. I mean, he's never done amazingly at the Open. He's made the cut twice, but he does have 72 fancy points per tournament, which is pretty high for someone. I mean, he is priced quite highly, but I think the fact that he's missed 2 cuts in a row now will put some people off him, because I'd imagine some people have been burnt by that on DraftKings by picking him off the back of doing so well in the Masters. And yeah, 9,200 is kind of at the bottom of that top tier. So if you wanted to take someone at 12,800, say a Jason Day or someone, then you might want Willett just to counteract that a bit.
Nice balance, and I think he's been prepping for it. I think he's really been. He's got his eyes on it. He's won big one prize, and keep it at home for this one. Edo, fourth pick.
Mark Leishman.
All right.
You know, he came second last year. I'm not expecting him maybe even to come top 5, but that's the kind of player who isn't going to turn to trash all of a sudden in a course that's probably not. Oh, it's in the St Andrews kind of range. Something else as well, he came tied 55th at the WGC. That was actually a bit of a blip because in the previous 5 tournaments, his GIR had been above 65%. In fact, it had been absurdly higher than that. And you're kind of looking at a player who was really hitting himself into some form. Maybe his WGC had more to do with wanting to concentrate on the bigger tournament. Even though, I mean, you know, it is still a WGC Bridgestone. But thing as well is, you look at it, he's finally managed to break on through as well in the major, coming 18th, or tied for 18th for the US Open. Then there's the fact that he was really good at Northern Trust. He's 39th in the world at the moment, but 28th in price, 7,400. Is there something that, you know, DK is trying to tell us? I don't know, but I really like him at that price. I think he's a sensational player.
If DK is trying to tell us something, they haven't told me, so. I'm going for my fourth pick now, and one of my favorite Simpsons characters, Oakley Dokley, Ned Flanders. You know why? Because he owns a Leftorium, the left-handed store. So I went with lefty. That's right, Phil Mickelson. 8,600. Hey, he's won it before. It's his 23rd appearance. And I you know what? He can be up and down. His putt can be a bit lagging. Sometimes his face looks like it's melting. It's getting longer. I don't know if that's happening. If there's like, he's like jumped out of Madame Tussauds, but his face doesn't seem to get longer with age. It's just like, he's pretty soon he's going to putt with his chin. But I think at 8,600, I like you, Phil Mickelson. You better do well. You always are here and sometimes in it, and you won it not to 2013. Phil on the list, do well. All right, fifth pick. See how much money you got left, Seb?
Yeah, I've got about 14K left for 2 spots.
Okay.
So I'm going value, but when I go for this value, I'm still have belief in these guys. I still think they can deliver and show a return. One is a guy I'm purely picking off the back of form over in the US. I also think he's very, very good in the wind conditions, which could be a big, big factor. Scott Piercy. Playing well, playing solid. I like this guy. I like it when he gets going. I think he's as good as anybody. Doesn't seem to get it going as often as maybe his talent would suggest he would, but I feel he's in the middle of a hot streak right now, but I don't think he's reached the pinnacle yet. He's a guy that I think could step up and challenge. Again, he ticks the box for being an American. So, is he American, Scott Piercy?
I think he is.
He's Australian? No.
Or is
I have a feeling he was. Yeah, I was going to say, I
Australian.
think he was in the southern hemisphere somewhere.
He might be Australia now.
Well, he's not US, as I said.
Yeah, okay.
But I fancy him, regardless of what his passport says. I think he's going to have a chance of walking away with a clout jug.
Well, a lot of them live in Florida anyway, so maybe
True.
true. Jamie, who's your fifth pick?
I've copied Seth. I've gone Francesco Molinari, 7,000. I'm really impressed. He's had a lot of top 20s in the past at the Open. And his brother's been up there as well. Don't pick his brother, pick Francesco.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get the right one.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure you get the right guy. A recent run of form, he got the second at the Open of France recently. And he's European. So although I think an American will probably win this, Europeans usually make up a lot of the leaderboard at the top end.
That's right. Edo, fifth pick. Where's the money going? Who you got left?
So yeah, I was in your situation, 14.5K, something like that. I had a little bit of a panic, and then I saw Carl Schwartzel, at 7,800, and the panic was over because we're talking about a former major winner, someone who's done well in Britain. You know, we're talking 4 top 20s in his last 6 appearances in the Scepter Isle. Did really well at the US Open. His GIR is really good. He's 9th from tee to green, and what I like as well is that he's 4th in approaching the green. We're talking about, you know, once again, you know, the rough isn't easy. The tracks, the courses are very tricky. The greens are small. So Schwartzel has the experience. He's been really consistent this year. I don't really see a problem. Once again, 7,800, I'm just a little bit suspicious of why he's so cheap. I mean, Schwartzel has delivered so many times as well. He's already won. I really like it at that price.
Yeah, the only thing hard about Charles Schwartzel is trying to spell his name.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Fifth pick for me. You know what? Sometimes you got to spend money. And sometimes you got to spend it on yourself in ways that make you feel good. And this makes me feel good. Rory McIlroy. That's right. I'm going for you. 11,900. 100% European and now Zika free. This guy, he missed out on the US Open cut, and he does what a lot of Americans do. They come to Europe and work on it. And that's what he's been doing. He's been working on his game. He's coming over here, working on his game, trying to get ready for this. He missed out in 2014. We remember trying to defend his title because he rolled his ankle playing football. So I think he's going to feel a little embarrassed about that. Want to do well at the British Open. Rory McIlroy. Not just because we got small C's and big letters after in our name, but you're on my list. All right, Seb. Sixth pick, your last man. Last down to your nickels. What do you got?
So I'm struggling for money at this point. I think I've got about 6,400 left. And then I see a man who I know is value at 6,300, purely off the basis that there's some short par fours on this course, and this guy hits it as far as any of them, Mr. Gary Woodland.
Oh, yeah.
He is definitely an American.
Yep.
And I think he's under the tutelage of Butch Harmon. Butch Harmon's had some players who have really risen through the ranks recently. Jimmy Walker, Ricky Fowler. He's proven to create people who've got the talent into guys that can win. I don't think Gary's quite done it yet. But when you've got maybe windy conditions that can switch on you with some short par fours, this guy could destroy them, have lots and lots of looks at eagles, which is going to be serious points. And at a cost of 6.3, I think is a steal. So I didn't hesitate. I clicked, and he's in the team.
Perfect. Nice. Always got to go with you got left. Jamie, who did you have left, and who did you take?
I had like 6,000 and something left. I'm not confident with this pick at all, but George Coetzee, 6,100. He's had a few top 20s at the Open, but they haven't been that recent. But I'm thinking he knows how to play links golf if he's had top 20s before. Also, part of my reasoning behind this is that Ernie Els, Louis Oosthuizen and Charles Schwartzel have done well in the past at the Open. He is also South African. And he's also very boom bust. So I think he's either going to do really well, which he did at the WGC Bridgestone when he came tied 21st, or he's going to be really bad, which he was last week, which was tied 133rd. I'm hoping that it's the former and not the latter. And he's only 6,100.
Always got to hope on
I
some of those
struggled
last
massively.
Picks. Those last picks, you're like, you didn't make the cut. Sorry, you're not going to make it. We're going on without you. Edo, final pick. Who do you have?
Gary Woodland at 6,300, and for much the same reasoning, really. You see him at that kind of price, and you go, this is a rising star. He's absolutely, the talent is all there. The tangibles, the tangibles, exactly, both the measurables, shall we say. He's just been sensational, and he's still got to get there, but yeah, he can hit it really hard. There's a variable sort of, we're even talking like one of the shortest par threes on course, so he can probably just get that straight in, and he's actually been really good. What I do like about him as well is his general stroke play. He isn't just a guy who can absolutely club it. He's actually got reasonable control without being amazing, but he generally rates well in ball striking as well. Gets it on the fairway just about enough, I think, for this kind of course. So I really liked him. And yeah, he was 6,300. I had 100 left, but I thought, no, I love him.
There you go. And my sixth pick, hey, you got to go with, we got, sometimes it's you save it for someone else or the money you have left. I went for the money I have left and for a name. I went for Juice Newton. Oh, no, sorry, it's Joost Luiten. Nope, sorry, Joost Luiten. That's the Dutch guy. 6,500. Yeah, you know what? You might go, wait, did you just choose him because it's all the money you have left? Maybe it's the 76.9 fantasy points per game the guy's getting. Playing very well on the European Tour, plays well in windy conditions. He's this flying Dutchman. I like him, not just because I had the money I had left. Juice Newton, you're on the list. You're my queen of hearts. Let's take a look at everyone's lists. We'll take a look at Seb's first. He does bring up his. See his lineup that he's got? That's right. Oh, Garcia, Molinari, Piercy, Spieth, Wood, and Woodland. Double Wood, Woodland. Then we'll go on to Jamie's next. Jamie's got Johnson, Double Johnson, Leishman, Willett, Molinari, and Kitsky. And going to Edo. Edo's got Garcia, Kuchar, Leishman, Schwartzel, Scott, and Woodland. And the winning pick is mine. Let's go to this one. Knox, Willett, Laurie, Mickelson, McIlroy, and Juice Luiten. That's right. Or Joost Luiten. Whatever. And I'm not very good with the Dutch tongue, but I am very bad with Dutch women. How do you make your picks and how do you get involved? You go to DraftKings. Go to DraftKings.com or DraftKings.co.uk if you're in the UK. Put together a six-man roster of $50,000, which to do it, it's the British Open, the biggest thing in golf. All eyes on Britain this week and not just on Brexit. It's on the British Open. DraftKings. Welcome to the big time.